Nepali people's spirit is very high. They're sort of vibrating on a higher level, and I think that comes back down to their religious beliefs. The two main religions of Nepal are sort of based on compassion, and that really shines through the Nepali people. The way that they approach life is a very sort of polite and patient, compassionate way of living. I feel very fortunate to be working for Active Adventures and coming to Nepal twice a year. The guiding is fantastic. It's also given me some great chance to explore other parts of Nepal, and there's so much of this country to see.
This is Mama.
Quite quickly, as I became closer friends with our guides and porters, every single one of them's inviting me for tea at their house or to come to their village. I came up here to Gorgani with Arjun and Gokul and some of the guys and met their family, their wives, their children. They showed me all around the village. We went to their school, and that kind of quickly became what I wanted to do with my free time, was to get away from the touristy areas and come up here into the village, hang out like a local.
म कहिलेकाहीँ सोच्छु मेरो आफ्नै म कहिलेकाहीँ आफै पनि सोच्छु किन एउटा न्युजिल्यान्डको एउटा चाहिँ समुद्रको किनारमा जन्मिएको मान्छेसँग एउटा नेपालको हिमालयनमा बस्ने मान्छेहरुसँग कसरी कन्ट्याक्ट भयो, किन यस्तो गहिरो सम्बन्ध भयो भनेर। एउटा केही एउटा नेपालीको सम्बन्ध छैन कि एउटा दाजुभाइको सम्बन्ध छ। त्यो भएर नि उहाँलाई चाहिँ हामी एकदम हाम्रो आफ्नै एउटा फ्यामिली मेम्बर।
My good friend Mr. Arjun Atakari, who has the biggest heart on the planet, as we became closer friends and spent time in the village, I began to learn a bit more about what he was doing on the side. When we went to the school to visit, he was behind the scenes with the principal discussing some ideas on how to improve the school. And I wanted a piece of that. The idea came to be we could build them a small library.
And they are asking me anytime for a library, but I can't afford it. And they are saying cost about $2,000, which means about 200,000 rupees. And he said, oh, no problem, because I have a 200 friend, and so each friend they donate like $10, so $2,000 easily. So why not? Let's start now.
And then just through social media, just sharing the story of what we're trying to do and how much we're trying to raise. Pretty quickly we had $3,000, but the money kept coming in. So eventually we had $7,000, and with the extra money, the plan for this tiny little corner of a room to be a library had grown into a full-size classroom with tables and desks and paint and curtains and hundreds and hundreds of books. The library was completed and we had a huge ceremony planned. There was radio announcements and they were expecting, I think, 2,000 people. And then 5 days prior to the opening day, the 2015 earthquake happened. I was here in Kathmandu city and I was at the domestic terminal with the Active Adventures group. We just landed after completing the Annapurna base camp trek. I've felt earthquakes before, but minor ones. This one was extremely violent and long, like it felt like it went for 10 minutes. It was almost a minute long. The noise was deafening. It was like there was 5 planes taking off all at once right next to us. We knew it was bad by the severity of it, but also where we were, slightly elevated above the city disappeared into smoke and dust. We could tell a lot of it, the city was gone. Kathmandu city in those hours and days following was chaotic. There was like a real sense of fear, 24/7, that the next big one was coming. There were constant radio announcements at 3 p.m. this afternoon, everybody get to a clear space. There's a possibility of the rest of the fault line going. Nobody was inside any of the buildings. Every single spare space outside was dedicated to tents. Walking around for those 2 days, we didn't see any other foreigners except our little team of 7. Active Adventures sent an initial financial bundle for us to use to help our boys on the ground and their families. Through their help, sharing what we were doing, people all over the world started to donate. It was amazing, it was incredibly humbling. Gradually we got our bearings and based here at Tamaliko starting to put together the first wave of relief we could send to our boys that work for Active Adventures, to their villages, which by that point we'd heard were completely flattened. We didn't know how many people had passed away up there, but we knew that it was really bad.
त्यो जुन भूकम्प बाद दोस्रो दिन म पोखराबाट चाहिँ घर गाउँ जाँदाखेरि देखेको, जब घरमा गाउँमा पुग्दाखेरि सबै घरहरू ध्वस्त र त्यहाँ केही पनि छैन जस्तो महसुस हुने, जस्तो घर छैन मान्छेको केही पनि छैन जस्तो महसुस हुने।
घरमै हो पारो, कोहीको भत्क्यो, कोहीको अलिक कमसित भत्क्यो, कोहीको जम्मै जरै गयो। बच्चाहरू कहाँ थिए? काठमाडौँमा थिए। अब कोही उता बन गएको थिए, कोही काठमाडौँ थिए। चिन्ता लाग्यो, त्यही त हो नि। छाउरा छोराछोरी जम्मै नआइकन डर हराएन, अनि यो कसरी बनाउने भन्ने तराई भयो।
When we got up into the village and we heard about some of our friends that had passed away or that were severely injured, when we saw the devastation of these beautiful homes that we'd spent so much time in, it was extremely motivating for us to get things moving on the ground and do our best to help ease some of that pain. When I arrived 2 days after the first jeep load had been there, it was kind of a chaotic scene. Hundreds and hundreds of people started turning up to where we were based. Our team of nurses had already run one pop-up medical clinic that was quite simply overrun. So we sort of learned we really needed to install some order into the way we do things. Our boys and the team we work with Active Adventures became our volunteers on the ground with security and logistics, crowd control. Through the Active Hearts Foundation, we also gave money to those that had lost loved ones to help with the cremation process. It's quite important how their loved one is looked after and their spirit sort of moves on. Handing over, money to these young girls that had lost their babies, that was really tough. After the initial waves of relief, it became pretty clear that the following weeks were going to be very tough. The monsoonal rains were starting to arrive. A huge request for them was to get their crops in because the approaching monsoon, which is their main growing season for their main food, rice, is winter, and that harvest is what sustains them through the winter months. The water channels were damaged and unsafe with the real fear of causing landslides. So it was deemed that a proper pipeline would be the most effective and safe way to get water to the top of the terrace fields. Leading from a seasonal stream in the jungle all the way to the top of the village, the pipeline would then flow down and benefit roughly 2,000 people.
जुनै पनि काम गर्दाखेरि हामी चाहिँ लोकलसँग सहकार्य भएर लोकललाई पनि इन्भल्भ गराएर सँगसँगै लिएर जाने चाहिँ हामीले एउटा प्रतिबद्धता पनि गरेका छौँ। त्यहाँ हामीले लोकल इन्जिनियर मात्रै प्रयोग गरेको, जुन लोकल त्यहाँको मान्छेहरू छ, अनुभव छ, तिनीहरूलाई मात्रै प्रयोग गरेर बनायौँ। त्यसमा पनि हाम्रो सबै गाउँको परिवारहरूको चाहिँ इन्भल्भ छ।
The village form a committee for projects like this, and so this had 11 members. It's pretty much discussed like this, just sitting on the haunches, and as a big communal, everything's quite transparent and everyone has a say on what they want and how it's going to work and who's doing what, how it's going to be managed. They spent all day, every day on steep cliff sides, building 15-foot high rock walls and gantries to carry this pipeline. They dug huge ditches and moved massive boulders as they built it with the idea that it was also a safe hiking path to the jungle. The really impressive part was how well they built it to last, that now 4 years later it still works as if they built it last week. In the months following, we went back home, which was quite emotional to sort of come down from such an intense period. Sort of had to reset, what do we do from here? The library obviously hadn't been opened, it had been damaged, we were still sitting there in the foothills. And we decided that we were going to open this library, no matter what, no earthquake's going to stop that. So we returned Satu Batu to where the initial library was, and we opened it. It was bigger and better than we could have ever imagined. I think there was about 2,000 people there. There was radio adverts advertising what was happening. And then they held just a small 7-hour ceremony of songs and dances and speeches. I mean, everyone was sort of celebrating as a community that this had happened and real positive things had come out of this tragedy.
Active Hearts played such a great role that it supported us with library, which is really the boon for promoting education system. Our students come here to learn different types of knowledge, and they feel a peaceful and learning environment while coming to the library.
लाइब्रेरी ले गर्दा नै सबै स्टुडेन्टहरुलाई शिक्षाको अवसर धेरै मिलेको छ। लाइब्रेरी ले गर्दा जस्तै कमजोर विद्यार्थी पनि पुरै फर्स्ट स्टुडेन्टमा पुग्न सकेका छन्।
When we returned for that, at the same time we did a walk around through the neighbouring villages and saw the devastation in the other schools, specifically one called Kauli, where it was completely flattened again and there was a huge urgent need for any assistance. They knew what we'd done with the library and this sort of bright light that had come out of the rubble and approached us, could we be any assistance to their school? Which is maybe a turning point for me that I think we could be. Yeah, we've done it once before and we've waded through the chaos of this earthquake and we have a lot of support back home. It sort of made sense, like, yeah, we could help you out. Like, these beautiful children in this village also deserve some assistance. This is just the record keeping of the books, right?
Yeah.
And so now there's 757 books here? Teacher. We'll send more. Doing the good system, man. I'm very impressed. Good work. So now, 4 years on, and Active Hearts has grown quite a lot. There's been a lot of money come through to us from very generous people around the world, and with that we're very conscious that that brings a lot of responsibility and expectations.
So हामीले चाहिँ एजुकेसनलाई नै टार्गेट गरिरहेको हो, किनकि हामीलाई थाहा छ एजुकेसन शिक्षा बिना मान्छेले कुनै पनि प्रगति गर्न सक्दैन। त्यो शिक्षालाई हामीले कसरी चाहिँ माथि उकास्ने, शिक्षा क्षेत्रलाई चाहिँ हामीले कसरी माथि लान सक्छौं र शिक्षाको कारणले चाहिँ कसरी बच्चाहरूको चाहिँ मस्तिष्क विकास भएर देशको विकास गर्न चाहन्छन् भनेर।
किनभने शिक्षा बिना हामीले केही काम गर्न सक्दैनौं। शिक्षा भयो भने हामीले कुनै पनि काम गर्नको लागि सजिलो हुन्छ। शिक्षाले गर्दा हामीले ठुलो ठुलो योगदान गर्न नै सक्छौं अनि ठुला ठुला कामहरुमा सहज र अरूलाई नजान्ने शिक्षा नभएको मानिसहरुलाई शिक्षा दिन पनि सक्छौं।
Which class is this? This is class 10. And what lesson are you doing now? Nepali? Oh, sorry, I can't help much. Mulai pustakare. Pustakalai man porja mulai. The other huge part of what we're doing is the sustainability of the project. Once it's finished and we've had the big celebration day, we don't simply walk away and look for the next one. We have to manage it. A big part of Arjun's role is reporting back to the board and to our donors on how the project is running now it's completed, what's not working possibly, what further assistance is needed. In the agreement we'll lay out a timeline of expectations, and then also maybe the money, we won't give it all at once, you know, like after stage 1's completed, then we give the money for stage 2, and it has to be completed as we agreed in the terms. Something that we've learned which helps with the sustainability and also encourages community cooperation together is approaching the community or the school to buy in to the project.
त्यो पैसा चाहिँ हामीले लिनको मेन टार्गेट भनेको पनि उहाँहरूलाई पनि यसमा माया होस् है भनेर उहाँहरूले गरेका कामहरू यसमा हाम्रो पनि पैसा परेको छ है.
Buddha also said that nobody will walk your path, it's you have to walk your own. So we think that 20%, 30% of involvement of them, that is very, very important, especially for the sustainability of the project. Because if people don't feel the ownership, it will fail. Anything.
I think it's a great idea if we can work, even if it was just 100 rupees per family. It gives them, they can be proud of it. If they're proud of it, they will manage it, and then they will. It will also set an example for other schools of how we can help. As we sort of ramp up what we're doing, we're really excited to be aligning with an official partnership with Active Adventures. If you want to do it efficiently and on the scale we're doing it, there's overheads involved, and with Active Adventures covering those overheads, it literally means every cent in the dollar that someone gives to Active Hearts Foundation goes to the project.
आज चाहिँ आएर लगभग हामी अब 9-10वटा स्कुलमा त पुगिसकेका छौँ, 10-12वटा स्कुलमा पुगिसकेका छौँ भने अबको फ्युचरमा अबको 5 वर्ष 10 वर्ष हुँदै 15-20 वर्षको यसमा चाहिँ सायद हामी नेपालका अरू चाहिँ 50-60-100वटा स्कुलसम्म हामी पुग्न सक्छौँ, 100वटा ठाउँसम्म 100 भन्ने हामीले आशा गरेका छौँ.
At Active Hearts Foundation, we believe that the children are the future, and so we want to do our best to help provide them with the tools they need to become the new leaders of Nepal and the rest of the world.
We have so much to explore in the world, and one world to preserve, one universe to preserve. And the universe belongs to everybody, no matter what caste, what country, what border, what nationality, it does not matter. If we can give them a better education, better level of understanding, better level of care, then they will preserve the world better.
You want a Nepal experience, you can do the straight road at home.
Yeah. And when you get back to home for this adventure, you have to pay lots of money.
Yeah. You have to sign lots of paperwork.
Right. Risk and some.